In the heart of New York City, where skyscrapers pierced the sky like arrogant giants and the streets buzzed with the relentless hum of ambition, Alexander Harrington stepped out of his sleek black limousine. He was a man who had everything, except peace. At 42, he was a self-made millionaire, CEO of a tech empire that revolutionized AI-driven investments. But on this rainy autumn evening, as he adjusted his tailored coat against the chill, he felt an inexplicable pull toward the old homeless shelter on Fifth Avenue. It was a place he donated to anonymously every year, a quiet nod to his own rags-to-riches past. Little did he know, this visit would shatter his world and rebuild it from the ashes. What he discovered inside would jolt you to your core, revealing secrets buried for years, and by the end of this tale, you'll see how one moment of truth can change everything. Stick around, because this story of love, loss, and redemption will have you reaching for the tissues, and if it moves you, hit that like button and subscribe for more heart-stirring stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Alexander pushed open the creaky door of the shelter, the smell of damp concrete and instant soup hitting him like a wave. Volunteers bustled about, handing out blankets and hot meals to the weary souls huddled in corners. He wasn't here for publicity. No cameras, no entourage. Just a quiet check-in with the director, an old friend from his college days. As he scanned the room, his eyes landed on a woman in the far corner, her back turned, kneeling on the cold floor with 3 tiny bundles wriggling beside her. Something about her posture, the way she tucked a strand of matted hair behind her ear, froze him in place. It couldn't be. Heart pounding, he stepped closer, his polished shoes echoing unnaturally loud in the hushed space. Sarah? The name escaped his lips like a ghost from the past. The woman turned, her eyes widening in shock. It was her, his ex-wife, Sarah Langley, the love he had lost 5 years ago. Her once vibrant face was gaunt, etched with lines of exhaustion and hardship. Beside her, on a threadbare mat, lay 3 identical toddlers, triplets, no more than 2 years old, giggling softly as they played with a frayed toy car. Their chubby cheeks and bright eyes mirrored something familiar, something that made Alexander's stomach twist. "Alex," she whispered, her voice cracking. In that instant, the millionaire's world of boardrooms and billions crumbled. How had the woman he once promised the stars to ended up here, with children who looked suspiciously like him? Their story began a decade earlier, in a small coastal town where dreams were as vast as the ocean. Alexander was an ambitious young coder, scraping by on freelance gigs, while Sarah was a budding artist, her paintings capturing the raw beauty of life's fleeting moments. They met at a local art fair, where he bought her first piece, a stormy seascape that mirrored the passion igniting between them. "This painting speaks to me," he had said, his eyes locked on hers. "It feels like home." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes, and from that day, they were inseparable. They married in a simple beach ceremony, vowing to build a life together. But ambition has a way of devouring promises. As Alexander's startup took off, the late nights turned into endless weeks. Board meetings replaced date nights, and Sarah's pleas for time together fell on deaf ears. "We're building our future," he'd say, kissing her forehead before diving back into his laptop. She supported him, sacrificing her art career to manage their home, but the loneliness grew like a shadow. One evening, after a particularly brutal argument where he accused her of not understanding his drive, Sarah discovered she was pregnant. Not with 1 child, but 3. Overwhelmed and fearing he'd see it as a burden, she packed her bags and left a note, "I need to find my own path. Please don't look for me." Alexander woke to an empty house, his heart shattered, but pride kept him from chasing her. He threw himself deeper into work, amassing wealth as if it could fill the void. Years passed, and Sarah's life spiraled into a nightmare she never imagined. The pregnancy was high risk, draining her savings on medical bills. She gave birth to the triplets, 2 boys, Ethan and Noah, and a girl, Lily, in a rundown clinic, alone and terrified. Juggling odd jobs as a waitress and freelance illustrator, she barely scraped by. But when a fire ravaged her apartment building last winter, they lost everything. Evicted and penniless, she turned to the shelter as a last resort, sleeping on mats with her babies, whispering bedtime stories of a better tomorrow. "One day, we'll have a home with stars on the ceiling," she'd tell them, fighting back tears. The triplets, oblivious to their plight, brought her joy with their infectious laughter and unbreakable bond. Ethan, the bold one, always leading adventures; Noah, the gentle soul who hugged everyone; Lily, the curious explorer with her mother's artistic spark. They were her world, but the weight of survival crushed her spirit day by day. Back in the shelter, Alexander knelt beside them, his voice trembling. "Are they mine?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears as she nodded slowly. "I found out right before I left. You were so consumed with the company, I thought you'd resent us. I couldn't bear to trap you." The truth hit him like a freight train. These children, with his dark hair and her sparkling eyes, were his flesh and blood. Guilt washed over him, all those years of building an empire, and he had missed their first steps, their first words. "Why didn't you tell me?" he choked out. Sarah looked away, her hands cradling Lily's tiny head. "I tried once, but your secretary said you were too busy. After that, pride got in the way. And then, life just happened." The emotional storm that followed was raw and unrelenting. Alexander insisted on helping immediately, but Sarah pushed back, her independence a shield forged in hardship. "We don't need your pity, Alex. We've survived without you." He spent the night at the shelter, not in his penthouse, but on the floor beside them, listening to their stories. Ethan tugged at his sleeve, calling him Mr. with wide-eyed wonder, while Noah shyly offered a crayon drawing. Lily fell asleep in his arms, her tiny fist clutching his tie. For the first time in years, Alexander felt truly alive, not from closing deals, but from these innocent connections. He learned of Sarah's struggles, the endless job rejections because of childcare needs, the nights she went hungry so the kids could eat, the fear of social services taking them away. Each revelation peeled back layers of his self-absorption, forcing him to confront the man he had become. The next day, challenges mounted like storm clouds. Alexander wanted to whisk them to his mansion, but Sarah demanded proof he had changed. "Money can't fix everything," she said firmly. "Show me you're here for us, not just to ease your conscience." He agreed, starting small. He rented a modest apartment for them, respecting her boundaries, and began visiting daily. The triplets warmed to him quickly, Ethan challenging him to races in the park, Noah sharing quiet reading sessions, Lily painting messy masterpieces on his expensive shirts. But trust with Sarah rebuilt slowly. Flashbacks haunted her, memories of his absences, the cold silences. One night, during a heated argument, she confessed, "I left because I felt invisible. Your success swallowed you whole." Alexander faced his own demons. His board of directors questioned his sudden distractions, and a rival company launched a smear campaign, accusing him of neglecting duties. "You're losing your edge, Harrington," his partner sneered. But for the first time, he pushed back. "Family comes first," he declared, delegating tasks and restructuring his life. He attended therapy with Sarah, unpacking years of resentment. Sessions were brutal, tears, accusations, moments of silence that stretched like eternities. Yet, breakthroughs came. Alexander admitted his fear of failure had driven him to obsession, while Sarah revealed her abandonment issues from a broken childhood home. The triplets became the glue, their innocent love reminding the adults of what mattered. As weeks turned to months, resolutions emerged from the chaos. Alexander used his resources wisely, not to overwhelm, but to empower. He funded Sarah's art studio, where she began creating again, her paintings now infused with themes of resilience and hope. The triplets thrived in a stable environment, enrolling in preschool where their personalities blossomed. Ethan discovered a love for building blocks, echoing his father's innovative spirit. Noah's empathy led him to comfort other kids, Lily's creativity shone in every doodle. One pivotal night, during a family dinner, Alexander cooked himself a disastrous but heartfelt attempt at lasagna. Sarah looked at him and said, "I see you now, the man I fell in love with." They shared a tentative kiss, the spark reigniting amid laughter from the kids. But the biggest challenge came when a health scare hit. Lily fell ill with a rare fever, requiring expensive treatment. Alexander's insurance covered it, but Sarah's pride nearly refused. "We're in this together," he insisted, holding her as she sobbed in the hospital waiting room. The ordeal bonded them irrevocably. Lily recovered, her giggles returning stronger, symbolizing their family's rebirth. Alexander stepped down as CEO, launching a foundation for single parents, channeling his wealth into shelters and programs. "I built an empire alone," he reflected, "but true success is shared." In the end, as the family stood on that same beach where they married, watching the triplets chase waves, Alexander proposed again. "Will you give us a second chance?" Sarah said yes, tears mingling with the sea spray. Their story wasn't perfect, scars remained, challenges lingered, but it proved that truth, when faced with courage, can heal the deepest wounds. It's a reminder that no amount of money buys happiness, it's found in forgiveness, presence, and love. If this tale touched your heart, showing how one discovery can rewrite destinies, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories that celebrate the human spirit. Who knows? Your own truth might be waiting just around the corner.